Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Creative Differences podcast. I'm here with Humza, and my name is Jarrett, and we are talking about the Ubisoft Forward live presentation. It had just aired about an hour ago, so this is fresh off from that.
Fresh off the books.
Yeah. Ubisoft is a company that I'm very skeptical of and have been for many years. So I did not go into this with high expectations.
We're all still hurt after Watch Dogs 1.
Yeah, we never really recovered from that. I think everything that they were going to talk about here was predicted and if not predicted, leaked.
Which was almost refreshing for the first time because it was one of the few of these live stream showcases that actually showed everything that we wanted to kind of see. Now, whether they were good reveals or not, or whether they were interesting and showed off is another thing, but I felt like what titles they were willing to show was pretty consistent with what we thought was going to be shown.
Yeah, it was just a big continuation of what we got to see from them at E3 last year, like with Watch Dogs Legion, and I don't know, did they announce Valhalla? They didn't announce it last year, but
No.
it had leaked.
Valhalla was announced like right at the beginning of quarantine.
Yeah, you're right.
It was
right.
like it was a part of like the Joe Exotic stimulus check time.
Yeah,
period.
but way back in March.
We're now in the era where everything is a cake.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Where should we? What were your sort of first impressions of this? Because it started with
the artsy short film about Watch Dogs, which we both agreed was pretty cool.
Yeah, I looked it up, and it was done. It was directed by the Alberto Mierglo, and he had directed that episode of Love, Death, and Robots. It was called like The Witness. It was interesting because there were like rumors that like animators that worked on Spider-Verse had worked on that short, and it was directed by this guy, and he did this new Watch Dogs Legion trailer, and it looks sick.
It just makes me think that this Watch Dogs Legion story works way better as like a movie or a TV show than as a game.
Absolutely. I remember at one E3 reveal, it was like Ubisoft is announcing a movies studio, and their first project was to be a Watch Dogs movie. And just that isn't happening.
No, we have to get Jake Gyllenhaal to be in the Division 2. Everybody's favorite.
His Division 2 movie? I mean, they did one. They did Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender.
They did.
And that was it.
Watch Dogs Legion was very interesting because I remember when they announced it last year and it had leaked before that this game was coming out and that you would be able to take control of any NPC. I went, that's not gonna work. And from what they showed today, the first like gameplay that we got to see, they've implemented it somewhat. I still think it's way too early to tell how that's going to work in the game. They didn't do a very good job at explaining it other than showing us a group of different like characters you could take these missions as, you know, like the construction worker guy or the hitman guy or whatever. It was, I don't know. I'm still very skeptical of that game, and then when I saw that it is coming out on October 29th, I was like, oh no. I don't think this game is ready yet.
I think it's a point of... Watch Dogs has always been a discussion of game development and how Ubisoft's relationship with game development has never been consistent. There's always issues of games just not feeling like they are finished, and that comes from us as like a audience perspective. I'm sure the developers feel that there's a lot of tech that they wanted to really utilize in this game of making every NPC not only interactable but playable. That's quite the feat for a Ubisoft title, and I think that hopefully they can pull it off, but October seems very soon for a release date like that.
Because I remember it was like they showed Watch Dogs Legion. They didn't show Assassin's Creed, but Assassin's Creed was part of this. And that game that called Gods and Monsters that was like supposed to be a Breath of the Wild inspired type open world game about like myths, and those three games were delayed last year by a year and a half each. So because they said that we need to like spend a lot more time on this stuff. So
yeah, which is good. I
good.
want this environment to be that game delays are good.
Yeah.
I wanna normalize that because I feel like I would more than rather have a game that's been delayed for a month or even a year,
Right.
rather than something that is subpar.
Ubisoft's issue with that though is that their every single game has to be this giant open world to them, and I don't think they need to do that all the time.
No, I never felt like there was much demand for that either from the audience. Like there's not many people out there that are like, I want a bigger Assassin's Creed game. I want them to be like more things to do, and it's like people would much rather prefer like a more dense, impactful kind of game to have rather than something that's just big and open.
Right, like it's the open world games are, they're, not for everybody. Like, but when every single game that your studio makes is like a giant open world game and they all start to kind of blend together and feel a lot of the same, that's where the issue lies,
Ubisoft kind of took the lead on this game archetype where it's just open world map with a select amount of missions, like maybe 3 or 5 missions, but they're scattered all over the world. So it feels like you're running around doing different things, but when it's just like mission cloning, I think that can become very boring. That's what these Ubisoft games always felt like, even from like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, of just like, okay, there's lots to do, but they're all kind of the same, and there's not a whole lot of mission variation. And as these titles get bigger, you're only going to really see that more. So hopefully Watch Dogs Legion will be different enough to push that design.
It might be like the only out of the 3 Watch Dogs games now, I think Legion might have the most interesting story. Like it has the potential, I think, to be something kind of cool, and not like cringy,
Yeah.
Not like just like hacker stereotypes. I mean, to be fair, Legion looks like it's full of that. But
yeah, Watch Dogs has always been like hacking, but movie hacking, video game hacking. It has like lines on walls that you gotta like line up. It's got the same design as those Spider-Man mini game games.
But I think this game is kind of leaning into the silliness of all of that. Like I felt like Watch Dogs 1 tried to be very serious.
With our boy Aiden.
Yeah.
CTOS.
Yeah, like that. But now I think they've realized, especially in Watch Dogs 2 as well, I think they're starting to kind of lean into the craziness of it all, and like how bombastic can we be. But this one also feels very, very political. Ubisoft likes to do that with their games every now and again, especially in Far Cry, where they like tiptoe into a controversial, like real world equivalent issue going on, but then they need to generalize it so they don't actually offend anybody in the final product.
There's also points of like, it feels like, because with Watch Dogs Legion, it's like, okay, there's police and there's aggression and it's clearly like happening, but they can't have it be actual police. So it's
it's like a military corporation.
It's a private military. It's like the Bezos Amazon military, and I think that really speaks volumes of like how Ubisoft likes to have these parallels, but they can't really be specific with it. Like they can't be actual things because of audience perception.
And like they got like, because that was like the whole thing with Far Cry 5, right, of them being like the bad guys being these like alt-right religious cult, but in the final product they're more of just like, they tone down all of the promotional material that they've put out and like what they were talking about the story of the game to be, and just kind of boiled it down into these weird religious cult people, but they were like standing in front of an American flag, and it was like a whole thing. Like when that game came out, I remember seeing all of that like comparison, and I was like, Ubisoft really likes to do that, I guess, of just like, maybe we'll talk about it, but not really. I
felt like that with Assassin's Creed 3. I was like, why is this Native American guy fighting for the Americans?
I felt like
they really could have delved more into like serious stuff, but I think that gamers aren't gonna like that.
No.
Which is fine. You have an author. Yeah.
Do what you want with your story, but when they walk it back so that the final product is more marketable, it's kind of like, all right, well, could have just said it from the beginning if that's what you were really gonna do.
Absolutely.
This game is also going to be launching same time on next gen, for the new consoles.
Whenever that will be.
I assume weeks later, because right now, I guess, as far as we can speculate, the release date for Series X and the PS5 is going to be sometime in November.
Yeah, ballpark is November.
Yeah.
Not early November, but like mid to late November.
This game is also going to be on Stadia, if that's your thing. I don't think that's anybody's thing, unfortunately.
That'll be in all the Stadia ads I got on YouTube now.
Yeah. On the 14th, there's going to be another Stadia like news thing, and we're not going to talk about it because it doesn't matter.
Oh no. So what was after Watch Dogs Legion? We got Brawlhalla, which seemed like a pretty alright fighting game.
Yeah.
The mobile games.
Yeah, it's going to mobile. That was their big news.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're into mobile titles.
And then they went into some of their other mobile games. They looked like they had some fantasy thing full of microtransactions. And then we got another look at Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, which they announced last year. And it's some kind of like Clash Royale. Remember that from middle school?
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, but instead of weird knights and like dragons, it's characters from the Tom Clancy series. So like Rainbow Six and Sam from Splinter Cell, and
they were on that map from Rainbow.
Yeah, the Japan map with the big pagodas and everything. They spent a long time on the mobile stuff.
They did. I felt like there was a lot of time to the mobile stuff, but then we got their battle royale game Hyperscape,
right?
Which looks kind of fun.
They sent out a media preview last week, and that's when all the streamers were playing it, and that's kind of the main gimmick with this one is that it has interactivity with streaming, like with Twitch. So,
which is a cool function.
Yeah, it's definitely something I think a lot of games, multiplayer games moving forward, are going to start implementing is more interaction with the audience. But it's like your, standard battle royale stuff. But like, let's say in this part of the map for an extended period of time, the chat can vote on an event that happens, like infinite ammo or low gravity, and that it directly affects the gameplay.
Which is cool tech.
Yeah. Like it was interesting to kind of see it play out, like when the streamers were previewing it last week.
What streamers did you watch?
None of the ones that I know were streaming it. I just searched the game on Twitch, and I was seeing who was getting to play it.
Oh, I see.
It's now, I think today actually, it's in open beta, and
check it out.
Yeah, I definitely want to see what it's all about because they have like lore now. It's like Ready Player One.
That's always when these games are also at the height of fun, is when they're in like an open beta type thing.
Yeah.
I remember even Lawbreakers, that game was super fun.
Yeah, I played the open beta for that.
Yeah, because it's like when it's free to play and, everyone's quarantined, there's no point in not checking it out if you've got the ability to play it. Looks kind of fun, I guess. The engine looks alright.
It was built in the Rainbow Six engine.
Oh.
Yeah,
cool.
I remember reading that when the game got previewed last week.
That's kind of fun. I don't know. I always try these Battle Royale games. I always play them for like 2-3 days and I just get bored of the Battle Pass system, which is funny because I realized that like as a kid, I would probably be all over these.
Oh yeah, they're free most of the time. Yeah. Definitely.
They're free, and like if the point is like all your friends are playing it,
exactly,
you just have to pay like $10-15 for a Battle Pass. Of course you're gonna do it. You're a kid. It's $10.
Yeah, it's way easier of a purchase than a brand new $60 game.
Absolutely.
Moving on from Hyperscape, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I don't give a fuck, dude. Moving on to the big boys.
Yeah, they finally got around to showing Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay after lying to us at the Xbox thing.
No, they insinuated.
They lied to us. We got to see gameplay for that, and I guess it looks like Odyssey. I have not played these new Assassin's Creed games like Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. I was an Assassin's Creed fan when I was a kid. You know,
Yeah.
I liked Brotherhood. I liked Revelations.
Yeah. Did you ever play like one?
Yeah, I played one. But I
One's
had
pretty old.
after I had played the other ones. You know.
I remember when the PS3 was like new. Assassin's Creed 1 was a big title on it. I remember people playing that. But yeah, no, Assassin's Creed has kind of changed a lot.
Yeah,
since, like, post Syndicate is a weird time period. It's Origins and Odyssey, and those games are just big open world RPGs.
Yeah.
Which they've always been that. They've always been open world RPGs, but the fact that they're at this height now is just kind of, I don't know, it's interesting.
It feels like a Fallout game, but in third person with melee combat. Like, you're going around, and then, you know, you go from point A to point B to talk to somebody in a cutscene, and then you're going to go from point B to the next part of the mission, and you're going to fight some guys, and then, you know, that's the gameplay loop.
It feels like a third person Far Cry, almost.
Kind of,
like you're
yeah,
just
yeah.
in this map, and the scenery is looking alright, and you just got these raid missions now.
Mm-hmm.
Which I find it really funny that they're like, you will have certain set pieces, and I was like, okay, so like the story is gonna have me do stuff. Thank you. Fucking press Y to raid.
Yeah, I thought that it was interesting because it feels like they're combining lots of ideas from their other games in this game, like you said with Far Cry, and then the siege assault stuff reminded me of like For Honor, especially now that this is like a Viking game.
Yeah.
I think my thoughts on Assassin's Creed Valhalla are that I'm still probably not going to play it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think this is the Assassin's Creed that gets me back into Assassin's Creed, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm good with never playing one of these ever again. I haven't played one since Unity.
Yeah, neither have I. Even in like terms of release, like I feel like when Unity came out, that's kind of when I started.
Yeah, I bought
playing
that game on PC. I remember playing it. And then I had to return it because it was broken.
Oh, shit. Yeah, these Assassin's Creed games have certainly shown that they're still here. They're still here. They're a part of an old age of gaming that's along with along Call of Duty and Battlefield. And
Yeah,
stuff.
like the last generation was full of these games.
Yeah. So it's a weird point of like, this feels like the Black Flag almost, because Black Flag was like on PS3 and on Xbox 360.
Yeah, it was.
It was pushed onto the PS4 as a launch title. So that's what this game definitely feels like.
Yeah, this one is a November 17th release date, so
very soon.
That is either, you know, same week as these consoles maybe, or like maybe the week after. Yeah. I think Cyberpunk is November 19th, so
19th.
Kind of the same thing. It would be really cool if day one you could pick up your PS5 and Cyberpunk and go home and play that. I think that would be a big selling point for a lot of people.
Absolutely. I'm sure that there would be like a lot of bundle things like that.
Right.
I really liked the fact that I think that they said that this is like one of those compatible ones where it's like if you get it on the Xbox One, you'll get it on the X, which is interesting because it's so close to the release date, presumably.
Phil Spencer and Xbox have been pushing these studios to actually make their next gen upgrades for free.
Yeah,
they're really trying to get that market like all settled, and I think that's a good thing. We have not really heard so much from Sony on that front.
There's very little info at the moment about Sony stuff going on.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Yeah, we only just got, you know, our first glimpse at the PS5 with some games.
Yeah,
I think they'll go more into detail soon, but that communication is always, you know, welcome.
I'm assuming like later in the summer we'll see more PS5 stuff.
Yeah,
I really don't think we're gonna get it for a while. They gave us a lot. I don't think we're gonna get like a price date or anything.
Yeah, August and September I think is the next time we hear from the PS5.
Absolutely.
I don't think we're gonna get an Xbox price date at the thing not next week, but the week after.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the 23rd is the next Xbox presentation. That's where you'll get your Halo trailer.
I will. I'll get Halo this Tuesday with Microsoft having Halo 3 on the Master Chief Collection on PC. So that'll finally be happening, and that'll be really cool. Those games are kind of
that's
fun.
usually when the new Master Chief Collection game comes out on PC. Humza stops showering and he gets like Dorito crust permanently like glued to his fingers for a couple of days.
My keyboard is orange.
Yeah, he points at the bag that has the Master Chief like double XP on it. He's like, I gotta get my XP.
There's just like a 12-pack of Mountain Dew that lives under my desk.
Yeah, you revert into like a 2007 Gamer Boy every time they release one of these things.
I revert into a 2015 Diva meme from Overwatch. All right.
Let's talk about the gameplay though.
Of what?
Of Valhalla. Like the stuff that they showed was very rough. It felt like there were lots of frame drops and some weird animations going on. It looked like
the game looks weird. There's a point in the trailer where our main character is talking to a group of people and she's like trying to like lead them, and the way that they looked, it just seemed weird. Like the facial capture of Ubisoft feels very off as well. I think like there's the textures for these characters look weird. I don't know. It just felt very like old age.
Yeah, like coming off of Last of Us Part 2 and seeing that, it was very jarring, and it reminds me that Ubisoft is very good at those epic cinematic CGI trailers, but then it cuts to gameplay and it's like a totally different thing.
It feels almost like Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
Levels of just displaced textures. Which, I mean, like, is weird because I don't want to like knock the work put into it, but it's also important to talk about because it doesn't feel like a next gen title.
No, it looked like what we saw was stuff from like way earlier in this generation.
It looks like Odyssey. Which is the point.
Yeah,
but it just feels so.
I mean, I've never gone to Ubisoft for like top tier graphics or anything like that, but I still play a lot of Siege, and that game is 5 years old now, and that game looks fine. Like it holds up. Like it's certain parts, you know, have their age to them, but like it's enough for me to keep playing. But I wouldn't, give $60 for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it looks like that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping on the next gen consoles there's a difference, like a very noticeable difference that kind of brings all these games up to speed for Ubisoft, but from what we're seeing now, I'm not confident.
I think it'd be very fun if for the PS5 and for the Xbox One X, I think it'll be very cool to see a Rainbow Six like texture update.
Yeah, it's a launch title. It's like listed on Sony's page.
So it'd be fun if they were like, okay, well we're graphically improving it, we're adding a bit better textures, and we're using the same engine but just making it look a bit nicer. I think that'd be kind of cool. I don't know how well that could happen, but that'd be something that I would be very much into. There's not a whole lot getting me into Rainbow right now. I know that quarantine thing was supposed to happen, but that's not.
Yeah, but you didn't see that. I thought we would see that this time around, but it was not here.
Supposed Rainbow Six Quarantine title, which is supposed to be a standalone game based off of that game mode, which was interesting because I didn't feel like that game mode was going to be fun if it was a whole game. But I don't know. It'd be fun to have some single-player Rainbow Six stuff and some PvE content.
Yeah. Like it makes total sense to combine the zombie stuff from Left 4 Dead with like the defense side of Rainbow Six of like you gotta like hold down this fort from all the alien zombies. That's what they were.
Yeah.
But like you're reinforcing the walls and you're still be able to put up like barricades. I think that has a lot of potential to it. But we didn't get to see it. We saw it last year at E3, but it wasn't here this time around.
Yeah. And then we got the final game reveal for Far Cry 6.
Doesn't matter. I already knew about it.
It was coming. I was interested to see what they were going to be willing to show, because I started off with a little CG trailer of Giancarlo Esposito. But it looked like they showed off like the intro to the game. Like I feel like that'll play before the main menu.
Yeah, something like that.
That's like their little CG intro, which is always kind of fun to see. Those aren't too bad. And then we get a little bit of a story trailer almost of this. I believe it's been confirmed that it's like Cuba, and it's it looks like to be taking place in pretty modern times. The kid was using like earbuds and a hoodie. So I don't know. I was trying to like put it on a timeline because I'm thinking of like how old is Far Cry 3 and how old is this game looking? But
we didn't see any gameplay from Far Cry 6, but it is coming out next year in February, which I found to be pretty interesting because
February 21st.
I felt like I feel like the last Far Cry, like Far Cry 4, I remember coming out kind of around like February, like early quarter of that of a new year. I think bringing in Giancarlo is a pretty cool idea. Like, if anyone could be a cool bad guy, it's him, you know?
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how the story unfolds because this game is going to have a fully voiced protagonist that can either be a man or a woman. I'm reading some GameSpot articles about what we saw today so that we can keep track of what's going on. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see how that plays out with the story because I remember when I saw that the game box art leaked and there's the kid with Giancarlo Esposito. I thought that was who you play as, but that's not the case. That's his son, but I believe you play as one of the revolutionaries. Like that's your point of view in the game.
Oh, that's cool. It'd be weird if you play as a kid.
Yeah, I mean it could be interesting, but
I don't think that'll happen. There were all those theories that the kid is Voss.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. You know.
I don't think it's gonna happen, Jarrett. I don't think it's true.
No,
I feel like they would have like hinted at it.
Yeah. It would be such a marketing tool to be like Voss prequel, you know.
Yeah. I feel like Giancarlo would have been like, have I ever told you the definition of a game? I like how this game looks. The aesthetic is very cool. There's a lot of design choices that I felt like I didn't like in Far Cry 5. Like, I mean, I just didn't like the aesthetic of it. But I loved the look of 4. That 4 was a very cool looking game.
Well, by the time 5 rolled around, we all realized that, they're just doing the same thing over and over again. So I never played Primal, and I haven't played 5 or New Dawn. So the last one I played was 4, so it's been a really long time since I played a Far Cry game.
Yeah, and those games were always pretty fun. They're like FPS, little open world titles that have really cool like vehicle and weapon gameplay.
Yeah, there's a lot of customization there. You know, back when that came out, that was pretty revolutionary. Now I've seen it too many times, so I'm hoping that this game kind of opens up and gives the player a little bit more freedom with what they decide to do and maybe innovate a little on the mission types, because every Far Cry game is take out the radio tower to expand the map. You know, I'm kind of tired of that gameplay. Like, it's really dated, and it's just like I think there needs to be some kind of change in order to get people back in. Like I said earlier, Ubisoft is the king at cool CGI trailers that have really nothing to do with the video game other than introducing the premise and the story.
I think it'll be an interesting title to see at this point. Because how's the world going to look in February? You know?
Yeah, you know.
So, I don't know. There's a lot to look forward to with Far Cry 6 because it'll be a fun story, but I don't think that the game is going to be that much different than any other Far Cry
my
title.
Expectations are low on the gameplay front. I think the story has a lot of potential.
Absolutely. I'm very excited for seeing some more stuff. But at the end of the day, these are all Ubisoft titles that I'm only like somewhat into. I'm not hyped for any of these.
No.
There's nothing that's like guaranteeing me getting any of them. There's nothing that's like pushing the hype more than just a couple trailers and ideas that look pretty cool, but I don't know. Pretty good reveal from Ubisoft.
Yeah, they're planning another one as well. They said come back later in the year and we'll show you some more things. I think that is where they're saving a lot of their next-gen stuff. I think what we're going to see at that next showcase is going to be stuff that is another couple of years out, stuff that they're planning for next-gen. Not sure what that is, obviously. I don't really have any predictions on that. Like, I could see them doing another like crew game because
maybe a lot's up in the air now. With the whole COVID situation, but also with the situation of the next generation. There's so much freedom in being like, well, we could really release anything we want. Mm-hmm. It's up to the gamers on what they are willing to play.
And Ubisoft has so many different teams under them working on stuff all the time. It's really like it really could be anything. Anywhere from stuff like old IP to completely new franchises.
Yeah.
I hope that the next generation is good for Ubisoft. I really hope that they kind of innovate in a way that gets people interested in them again, because it's been a really long time since Ubisoft has done anything to spark my interest, at least, you know.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that's really everything I had to say about this this live stream.
Yeah, we're at a kind of a shorter episode. I think we thought going in before the showcase that we would have a little bit more to talk about, but this one was pretty short and sweet, even though it was an hour long.
I'm
They
fine.
spent a long time with the games that they showed. You know.
Yeah. It had been long enough that like seeing it was pretty cool.
They took the time to be like, these are the games that we want to show you, and we're gonna actually spend some time with, which I kind of prefer over to like the announcement after announcement of stuff I probably don't care about that we kind of see in other presentations that are more broad. Like the PS5 stuff had a lot of really cool things, but there was a lot of stuff that in between that was just a CGI trailer that they threw up 30 seconds or whatever, that we didn't necessarily get a whole lot of in-depth reporting on. Like, I really hope to see going forward in these main like Xbox and PS5 showcases is spend more time on these next gen titles, really show us what it means to be a next gen game.
Yeah, like what functions are you selling here that make your title next gen and make your console next gen? Because right now it's like, what are you gonna do differently than a PS4?
Yeah, exactly.
Other than just run faster and look nicer, which is great. But I don't know. I'm excited to see some innovation. I'm excited to see experimentation. Bars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really about everything. I'm glad that I'm pretty okay with like these episodes being a bit shorter.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
episodes. Our next one will be a discussion over Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, we that it will be releasing on Friday this upcoming week. We will do a pre-show, kind of giving our thoughts about what we want to see, hopefully, and maybe what we're looking forward to. And then once we finish the game, we will do a full review and discussion.
Yeah, once we have some time with the game.
We maybe even do like a mid-game discussion depending on the length of this title.
Yeah, seeing how long it'll take us to fully play through it
Yeah.
and feel confident enough to talk about it. But yeah.
Thanks for listening. It's been Creative Differences. We'll talk to you guys soon.
See you guys.